Hi, I'm Ross Murray with GLAAD, and I am here with Michelle LeClair. She has spent 25 years and $5 million supporting the Church of Scientology until she came out. And in her new book, Perfectly Clear, Escaping Scientology and Fighting for the Woman I Love, Michelle describes how Scientology first tried to prevent her from coming out, from forming a relationship with the woman she loves, and eventually persecuting and personally attacking her and her business. She's been telling her story these last few weeks. She's been landing on the cover of People magazine and speaking to the Today Show, and she is here with us today. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess, first of all, just for those people that aren't familiar or maybe kind of know Scientology from celebrity or whatnot, what is the Church of Scientology, and how'd you get into it?
Well, I believe the best way to explain Scientology is a little tiny bit of a ripoff of Buddhism mixed with Tony Robbins and wrapped with Star Wars. I mean, that's my opinion of it now.
Right.
I think the reason that people do get pulled into it is because L. Ron Hubbard wrote this book, Dianetics, which says we have two sides to our mind. We have one side that is the reactive side. It's all the pain and trauma that we've been through in our lives. And then we have the other side, which is analytical. He claims that you can clear up all of that pain. The problem is Scientology just gives you more pain, and they don't clear it up, and they direct you into areas that they can use things against you. So as you get involved in Scientology, it is not that clear in the beginning. You feel like you're talking about things that may have been bothersome to you or that you're worried about. But you get directed to these paths where if you were hurt, you're responsible for it. If you were raped, you are responsible for it. If you are in an abusive relationship, you are responsible for it. And you just get knocked down so much that you just keep hoping that somebody's going to give you the right answer.
It seems really timely and relevant. Your story's coming out now. There's been a lot of conversation through the Me Too movement, through Supreme Court confirmations of how much do we believe victims and survivors, and you being able to tell your own story sounds like it's one part of that bigger narrative.
Well, it's interesting. You know, the Church of Scientology has hit back to me hard and said, I'm just trying to be part of the hashtag Me Too movement. Well, first of all, that sounds like a bad thing. You know, to me, to have a voice of anything that has to do with abuse is a wonderful thing. But my situation happened years prior to this happening, which most women and men that have had this happen to them, it was years prior. My story started much sooner. I started writing my book, Perfectly Clear, much sooner. And it is important to me that we are exposing groups that are condoning abuse. They are condoning abuse in relationships. In the Church of Scientology, you are not allowed to go to the police department, to go see a psychiatrist. Everything is contained within that one organization.
And what does Scientology say about LGBTQ people?
Well, L. Ron Hubbard writes in Dianetics, and his words are that homosexuals are the lowest of the low, that they are sickly people, that they are a contagion to society. In Science of Survival, he says that they should be disposed of quietly and without sorrow. So for me, you know, coming out...
That's really strong language.
It's scary language. And it's scary that the Church of Scientology is putting these statements out there.
Was there a specific instance when you sort of knew that Scientology and especially its views about LGBTQ people was going to be harmful to you?
The moment that I was outed, the moment that I was madly in love with a woman, I thought that I would be able to bring the Church of Scientology into the 21st century. And I was going to be the rainbow flag waving Scientologist. And I was very wrong. I thought because I was such a large donor, my business partner was Kirstie Alley, and I thought, oh my gosh, well, they're never in a million years going to make me, you know, walk away from this relationship. And the moment that I was told, you need to choose, you need to either walk away from this relationship or you need to leave the Church of Scientology, and I said, I will only stay with the love of my life.
I can imagine. I do a lot of religion work and recognize there's always this tension of how much do you try to fight to change things from the inside, and you want your religious community to be more welcoming,
Right.
and that sometimes there ends up being a point to say this is untenable. This is not good for my health or my safety.
Right. I want to be very careful to compare the Church of Scientology to any real religious organization. This is a cult. This is a mind-altering, gay-converting cult. A church that has come far, like the Episcopal Church, for example, and other churches that have been at the forefront of marriage equality and gay rights. It's a beautiful thing. They have been brought forward, but that is a real religion, and that is something that is looking to become even better and looking to open their arms around everyone in a society that is more accepting today. The Church of Scientology is not changing, but the sad part is exactly what you said. I believe that I was part of a group that I could change. That if I was in the top echelon of this group and they took every dollar that I donated, then why wouldn't they support something as great as love?
And what happened when you started to distance yourself or tried to leave?
Well, I found out through all these years of discovery with court cases that the moment I became good friends with a lesbian, and it was purely friendship at that time, I was asked to hire somebody inside of my company that was going to handle all of my IT, my servers, my emails, everything. And I went along with her. I didn't realize that she had hired the person to come in and copy my servers was the same person who set up the proxy on the Church of Scientology's members, meaning if somebody who works for the Church of Scientology Googles cult of Scientology, it will never pop up, or Scientology and what they've done to somebody who's left, it will never pop up. That same person was the person running every single IT computer server that I had in my company.
Access to all of your business.
Access to everything, which, look, there was nothing for me to hide, but access to anybody's business is illegal without their permission. So for me, it was a dwindling spiral that actually started in 2009, and I had no idea that I was being watched. The moment that I said no more, that I stopped writing checks, there was an anonymous report that was sent to the state of California that I was running a Ponzi scheme.
So you've gone through a huge journey with Scientology, and I know a lot of that is detailed in your book, but I want to take a step back a little bit to ask how you and your partner met and what that meant to you.
Well, so I was introduced to her by a mutual friend. One of my clients was Shaka Khan, and that's who she had produced for. And after that introduction, we became best friends, and I just fell madly in love with her. She is the kindest, strongest, most amazing woman I have ever met in my life. And I truly feel like she was God's gift to me. And she opened my eyes to the dark hole that I was in and showed me what a real life was really like. And our love is just as great today, 10 years later.
And I know her. She's a great advocate too.
She is.
She's worked with GLAAD on a project to talk about discrimination in her own home state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
She's been a really good advocate. Has she helped you to sort of find your voice as well?
You know, she's a very interesting person because she loves me for everything that I am, but she does not set the path. And she allows me to find my own way. And I think that's really an important part of a great relationship. She is there for me no matter what. But of course, I see what she does. So advocacy to me is extremely important. If we have a voice where we can help somebody, we need to use it. Or in her case, if she has a talent and she can bring amazing music to things that are so important, then I'm just so proud of her for doing all of it.
You mentioned before, you talked before about this work, within religion and what Scientology actually is, and it's a religion. And I know for a lot of people, and part of my work has been how people reconcile what they believe, sometimes with their identity, their sexual orientation, their gender identity. So having gone through this journey and be where you are now, what do you believe now?
I think that it is important that we open up our lives to everyone. Acceptance in our world and really grabbing on to who we are comes from this deep area of compassion for one another and not trying to change another and not trying to make somebody fit into a box that they think is the right space. All these names that we have, all these ways to identify, it's important to be respectful to the people that require that or are asking to be identified in a certain way. But I think more importantly, we're all just people and we're all looking for the same thing, which is love.
And I'm curious, just to end, what message do you have for other people that are watching this or your other interviews or reading your book as well? Other people that are perhaps still within Scientology and discovering their own sexual orientation or gender identity. Do you have a message for them?
Well, I don't think anybody that's still in Scientology will be watching this. They're not allowed to, they won't do it. More importantly, it's the people that might walk in those doors of the Church of Scientology. It took me a long time to figure out myself and who I was. And it was something I questioned. And I would like to be able to say, it is a beautiful life being the real and true you, whatever that is. It is so fulfilling out there. If you need help, find somebody to help you, but do not walk into the doors of the Church of Scientology. It is gay conversion therapy, and you need to find a friend who will hold your hand, or a great psychiatrist or psychologist, or coworker or family member. But always go with your gut and follow your gut, because most of the time it's a beautiful piece that we have that leads us into the right direction, and always going for love will lead you to the truth, always.
I love that. We say some of the work that I've done, we talk about being the you-iest you possible.
Yeah.
And I love that. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Michelle LeClair's book is perfectly clear, Escaping Scientology and Fighting for the Woman I Love, and we are so thankful to have her with us. Thank you.
Thank you.